but we will start with Caspian. This is their fifth album. It's called On Circles. They come from Beverly in Massachusetts in America, and they are probably one of like the premier post-rock bands ever going right now. This is their first album with drummer Justin Forrest, and it's their first album since 2015's Dust and Disquiet, which for Caspian, for fans of Caspian, was kind of their peak at the moment. It's kind of their magnum opus so far. I've seen a lot of people gush over it. I've seen a lot of people say how great it is just as a whole. It was also a big album for them. It was their first album written, and I will get his name. It was their first. Well, it was a response album after the passing of their bassist at the time, Chris Friedrich. And so this is the album after the big one. And as time has shown us, the one after the big one isn't always all that great. And I just noticed aside from the album, I've got obviously a YouTube portion or a video portion of the podcast going as well. I look really grey. I'm sure that's probably nothing maybe obviously to worry about, but anyway, so yeah, big old album for Caspian following. It's almost like bigger than the big album when these sort of things happen. As a whole, I've talked about it a lot. I find it very difficult to get post-rock. It's a style of music which is a lot of bands sort of go too much of the crescendo core kind of thing, as I've seen it described, and I think that describes why I don't like it that much quite well. Yeah, it's just a genre that I want to get into. I feel like I'm missing out on an intake of music it just hits differently to the usual lot of punk and thrash and like extreme music I usually go for, but it's been a difficult one. And in terms of having the slow building kind of songs and lots of ideas, lots of spaciness, lots of people trying to show off what they can do, I was kind of getting that vibe very early on in the opener, Wild Blood. Again, it's a very searing, it's a very slow building kind of song, and that's how it introduced the album. To me, it is the archetypal post-rock song. And yeah, initially I was kind of worried because I was thinking like this incredible band with this incredible pedigree, and I'm just gonna sit here and say it's boring. Few more listeners know, particularly on headphones. Headphones really did make the difference on an album like this. It really started to grab me. Flowers of Light was one particularly early on in the album, it really draws me into like the album as a whole. Beautiful guitar effect, which I think is just like a simple delay effect. I'm really low down on this camera. There we go. Yeah, really simple delay effect that starts off as the song's intro, very quickly become, or very slowly, in fact, 'cause it's post-rock still, very slowly becomes the spine of the song, and it's what everyone else works around to create this like adding walls and walls, well, layer upon layer to the wall of sound. The new guy, Justin Forrester, he has some brilliant hi-hat rolls that creates that really organic, shimmery feel and that ethereal world that post-rock bands, post-rock music just craves and just is always trying to get something that feels so organic in that ilk. Yeah, I just thought it became, everything bounced off each other and everything worked off each other so very well on what was just like simple ideas coming together to create a very expansive idea, expansive whole, I should say. That wall of sound that I talked about is backed up by big stadium rock style, big drum beat. And from that point on, when it was a case of these are still quite grounded rock musicians making this kind of ethereal music, albums started to click with me way more than it previously was. Or even on when I was doing the review listen, it was pretty much blasting like 20 seconds or so of each song. I put on Division Blues, went to write down some notes, and I just let it finish off, and it just drifted straight into Ondra, and it was so easy. It was just so easy to have that music on. You can work. I find it quite hard in the grand scheme of things. I find it quite difficult to listen to music and then write at the same time. I've usually got to listen to something, stop it, and then write down the notes I have and what I've just heard, as opposed to alongside. Whereas with this, it was so easy. Like I say, it just drifted from one song to another, and it felt right. It felt, again, easy. Ondra, the actual song itself, follows a very similar trait to Flowers of Light. That delayed guitar effect to open and carry the song throughout. I love how that effect is used. It's something that, on its own, is something quite simple and easy. Just either get the right guitar or get the right pedal. As far as I'm aware, I'm not a guitarist. But the way they use it, the way they make something as a simple idea and turn it into something way more powerful than its initial usage. It's very, very done. Very, very well done. On this album. And it's not just Flowers of Light and Ondra either as well. They just use it as like the spine of the song, as I was saying. But there's a few other times where they just use it sporadically in between songs. And yeah, really, really enjoyed that. Collapser, when I was talking about early on about how it took me a while just to like start listening to the songs and start listening to what it is as a piece of music as opposed to individual songs, Collapser was one of the first songs of the entire album that really caught my attention. It's the proper rocky one. It's really, really like more crunchy and way more closer to what I'd usually listen to. There's just so much guitar melodies in there, so many. There's way more crunch, as I say. The tremolo picking just adds to the overall drama of the song. And squeaky chair, the outro of the song just feels like it does away with all like the beautiful etherealness and refinement that the rest of the album creates. When you get to the like outgoing of Collapser, it just seems to do away with all of that, and it becomes more. It's kind of got like an alt metal, grungy kind of feel to it. You've got low end riffs. You've got a lot of like squealing, bending guitars. You've got it just in general. It's just got a bit more balls to it. And I think Collapse is a fucking wicked song. And it doesn't feel out of place either. Like a band like Caspian and an album like On Circles, where it's like very again very, very post rock. It's creating this big mood. It's creating this big arsenal of sound. Having a big proper rock song like Collapser, it doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel like you should have like Carry on Circles without Collapser and then just do an album of Collapser separately. It fits in so nicely, even when it does go straight into Ishmael or follows up with Ishmael, which is a bit more of a classically folk kind of song. It's somehow perfect and it fits so well, and I think that's not a detriment, the opposite of a detriment to Caspian and their songwriting. I think it's fantastic. The album ends on a song called Circles on Circles, which is just a fucking belter of a song. It's searing folk music. It is. I consider it the ballad, even though Ishmael is a bit more folksy. Circles on Circles, like I said, it's a bit more searing. It's got a bit more gravitas behind it, and that's why I think it's more like the ballad sort of song. It's also got vocals as well, which I think, because vocals are quite sporadic on this album. You've got some from Kyle Duffrey on Nostalgist, and I believe he's the lead singer of Pianos Become the Teeth. Other than that, it's Circles on Circles, and I think that's it. I think are they the only two? Fuck 'em. I think that shows how much I enjoyed this album. If I didn't realise I had no vocals in. I think that having the vocals in there makes it feel a bit more ballady. I described it to myself as it is the song that of Monsters of Men and of Mumford the Sons. That's the song they want to try and write. This like big indie folk, grandiose piece of music. if of Monsters and Men or if Mumford and Sons wrote Circles and Circles, it would blow the fuck up. It would be everywhere, and so many people would be going about how they're so diverse in their musical tastes. It is, oh my god, Circles and Circles is a fucking blinder of a song. It's very, very good, and as a whole, I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would. I knew it wasn't going to be an easy like, because it is post rock and it's not something I go for. I'm trying to force myself into it, and then often when you force yourself into liking a style of music, you end up hating it more. But the thing that's going to hurt me now is I'm going to go and find various post rock artists, expecting to hear Caspian version 2, and I'm just not. And it's going to take another long time to find another post rock band that I'll say, man, I like this as much as I like that Caspian record. Probably the amount of time for someone to listen to another post rock album. Hey. It's good. It's great. It's fantastic. It is beautifully written. It is. You can get so much out of it. You can have it on the background. You have it on as the focal point of your day. It is beautiful music. It's just fucking good. It's just fucking good. It is the 5th album from the Beverly, Massachusetts-based post-rock quintet Caspian. It is out now. Do give it a go. It's fucking wonderful.